Welcome, Year 9. Well, here we are, coming to the end of Much Ado About Nothing. I hope you've enjoyed this play. It's my favourite one of Shakespeare's comedies. I think it is actually funny in plays, which you can't often say about a lot of Shakespeare. But anyway, let's get on. The do now is what needs to happen for the play to finish as it should. Write down a list of key things that need to be sorted out. So any plot points that you think haven't been settled, make a list of all of them, and that will give us an idea of what we're going to be tying up today. So 5 minutes on that. So our learning objective is to explore the presentation of the second wedding, and your title is The Second Wedding. As ever, just a quick check to make sure we've got everything we need. A copy of the extract from Act 5, Scene 4, access to YouTube, and some different coloured pens and highlighters. And here are the things that need to be cleared up by the end of the play. Benedict and Beatrice need to be open about their love in front of everyone else. Benedict has challenged Claudio to a duel. Will that happen? Hero needs to be shown to be alive and proven innocent. Claudio needs to know he's really marrying Hero, because of course he thinks he's marrying a cousin at the moment. And the villains need to be punished. Don John needs to get his comeuppance. What makes a Shakespearean comedy? Write down this list of common features. So copy this into your book. Love, misunderstanding, always ends in marriage, contains improbable, fantastical things like for example, in Much Ado, the ball where nobody could recognise anybody just with those little masks on. Disguise, girls dressing as boys, angry fathers, long lost family members, low-born people turning out to be royalty, trickery, deception, and confusion. Write that list into your books under the heading, this is what makes a Shakespearean comedy. Now go through and highlight all the ones that we get in Much Ado. So we get love, we get misunderstanding, it ends in marriage, contains improbable, fantastical things. Don't think so, no. Disguise, yes. Girls dressing as boys, no. Angry fathers, yes. Long lost family members, no. Low-born people turning out to be royalty, no. Trickery, yes. Deception, yes. And confusion, yes. Okay, watch the scene summary of Act 5, Scene 4, and then the clip from the scene. And write your first impressions, as we always do at this stage, about this scene. Do you think this is a satisfying ending? 10 minutes for that. Right, what does this remind you of? 2 minutes. Don Pedro. How dost thou, Benedict, the married man? Benedict, I'll tell thee what, Prince. A college of wit-crackers cannot flout me out of my humour. Dost thou think I care for a satire or an epigram? No. If a man will be beaten with brains, I shall wear nothing handsome about him. In brief, since I do purpose to marry, I will think nothing to any purpose that the world can say against it, and therefore never flout at me for what I have said against it. For man is a giddy thing, and this is my conclusion. For thy part, Claudio, I did think to have beaten thee, but in that thou art like to be my kinsman. Live unbruised and love my cousin. Well, the savage bull may, but if ever the sensible Benedict bear it, pluck off the bull's horns and set them in my forehead, and let me be vildly painted. And in such great letters as they write, here is good horse to hire, let them signify under my sign, here you may see Benedict the married man. So the bit in orange is from earlier in the play, obviously. Benedict is now very happy to be proved wrong. He says that man is a giddy thing, showing that things can change quickly. He reminds Claudio that he had challenged him to a duel, but he's glad now that they don't have to fight. What do you think about the ending? I think it's satisfying. Everyone gets married, there's dancing, a happy ending. Who doesn't like that? That's fantastic. It's good to know that Don John has been captured. Now they put aside their thoughts of him. Two words spelt wrong there. Thoughts of him till they've enjoyed themselves, and don't let him spoil any more of their fun. It's a bit strange that Hero is happy to forgive Claudio for what he did. He humiliated her in front of everyone. Yes, that is, I guess, a sign of the times that she did that. But so why does this ending work for an Elizabethan audience? I mean, that business with Claudio Hero just forgiving Claudio like that, and you know, that's not something that a modern audience would, understand. So it's a comedy. It needs to end with a marriage and dancing. The same story could have been told as a tragedy instead if we just focused on Claudia and Hero. We see this fake death plot again in Romeo and Juliet, and it doesn't end in the same way. Under the same rules of a comedy, Claudio is seen to have suffered his punishment already by believing Hero dead. He didn't cause the problem, so it's Don John that is seen as the real villain. He is therefore not a tragic hero. Marriage in Elizabethan times was considered a necessity by both men and women. Women who didn't marry were considered witches by their neighbours, and for lower class women the only alternative was a life of servitude to wealthier families. Marriage allowed them social status and children. While the husbands received a marriage portion from their wives, marriage allowed a woman to maintain a certain status even if she became a widow. Widows were allowed to own property and run businesses. Hero couldn't have lived as an independent woman. She needs the security of a husband. Beatrice, despite her claims, is the same. So that's the audience of the time. I mean, to have a happy ending, that Beatrice and Hero both had to be married off. Otherwise, they would have gone on to be destitute, and it would not have been a happy ending. But that's contextual. That's the times, isn't it? Does this play work for a modern audience? What would you change about it? Just 5 minutes to think about that. Now, there are a whole series of plays called Shakespeare Retold. They were made in 2005, which unbelievably is 15 years ago now. And they made a retold version of Much Ado About Nothing. You can see there in that picture on the left as we look at it, that's Benedict. Then Claudio, look at his face there. He's about to give poor old Hero a terrible time. And there's Leonato and Beatrice on the right. What do you think they did differently? What could you do differently about the ending, particularly in respect of Hero, that would keep a modern audience happy? Well, this is what happened. In the second wedding was not a double wedding. Beatrice and Benedict got married. Claudio begs Hero to forgive him because he does the shaming thing. In fact, she nearly dies, but she's not sure, and we're left with no clear answer on whether they're even together. Well, to my mind, when I saw it, I thought they definitely weren't. In one of their final exchanges, she says to him, "I'm bored of being owned by you or by my dad." So she wants real independence, which she can actually have now. It's all very well Beatrice 400 years ago, wanting to be independent, but unless she's married, she can't be. Now, here's the task I want you to write up and put up onto Classcharts. I want you to write your own version of the final scene. You can do this as a play script or as a story if you prefer. Either's fine. You can choose the end to end the play however you like. Will you stick to a traditional ending or will you change it in some way? Don't forget to upload your versions to Classcharts Year 9. I'm really looking forward to reading these. So minimum of a half page, hopefully more from some of you. And I'll speak to you next time. Thank you.